When it comes to making a frequency distribution, whether it's categorical or in some of these cases, group data, there are a couple guidelines you should follow. And the first one is that you should have between 5 to 20 classes. Now, I haven't been doing that in our examples because I've been trying to make it easier to look at. But the theory is you don't want to group your data so much that you have 100 classes. It makes a table too hard to read. And at the same time, only 3 seems a little small. If I had ages 16 to 30, maybe I should spread it out and, do a class width of 3 or something a little bit smaller so I could get those 5 classes. But, having a table with 1 row would be silly. The second thing you want to look at is that all classes are mutually exclusive, and that means no number would fall into each class. So if the first class ends at 20, I don't want the second class to start at 19, because then would a 19-year-old go in the first class or the second class? When you think of the class boundaries, before we had it where it started from, it went from 16 to 20.5, and then the next one was also from 20.5 to 25.5. In that case, it doesn't seem mutually exclusive. Where would a 20-and-a-half-year-old person fall? The rule is that they always go in the first time you see it. So in this case, they would have gone in the first class. The class boundaries we really use for a couple other points, but when we refer to mutually exclusive, it's more like a complete overlap and not just kind of one spot. Also, be sure that you include all of the classes, even if the frequency is 0. Let's say for this table to the right that there happened to be no one aged 21 to 25. Don't make your table 16 to 20 and then the next row 26 to 30 and have this big gap. Part D, make sure they all have the same width. So as we saw earlier, these all classes have a same width of 5. Sometimes people might put 30 plus at the end, so that's kind of an unlimited width. That's okay. But you don't want the case where, let's say there's a 24-year-old and nobody younger than 24, so you make the second class just 24 to 25 or something. Also, be sure to use convenient numbers. People might not think 16 or 21 are convenient, but what we're really looking at is, 17 and 3/4. Who knows when they're 3/4 years old? Lastly, you want to make sure that the sum of the frequencies is the total of the data set, meaning that go back and count these up and see how many data items you were supposed to be using. Kind of just let you know that everybody fit into a category, and that's just kind of repeated by having enough classes for all the data. So just to give you an example of some things to look at when making your table.